Hello there, welcome back to another episode of the official DOIJ podcast. Today we're going to be doing two things. We're going over what I found to be an interesting article, at least what little bit I have read of it, as well as we're going to go into the weekly question as it is Saturday. So first off, I just want to go ahead and apologize for this being a bit of a late episode. I'm no longer going to be streaming the podcast. Instead, they're going to be pre-recorded like so, and they're going to be uploaded hopefully at the same time. I also hope to get the new schedule out hopefully within 2 weeks. Of course, I'll still let you all vote on that. If you want to go ahead and vote on that, click on the second link in the description. Yeah, let's go ahead and begin. So, the title of first off, this article is brought to us by NBC News. The app, not the website. I'm sure you can find it on the website as well. And it is U.S. News. Google tracked his bike ride past a burglarized home. That made him a suspect. I was using an app to see how many miles I rode my bike, and now it was putting me at the scene of the crime, the man said. So in the article, which was posted today, March 7th, 2020, it was posted early this morning at 6:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. By John Shoop, I believe is how you pronounce it. John Shoop. I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to get it right. I do apologize if I get it wrong. So the article starts off, reads as follows. The email arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in January, startling Zachary McCoy as he prepared to leave for his job at a restaurant in Gainesville, Florida. It was from Google's Legal Investigation Support Team, writing to let him know that local police had demanded information related to his Google account. The company said it would release the data unless he went to court and tried to block it. He had just 7 days. I was hit with a really deep fear, McCoy, 30 recalled, even though he couldn't think of anything he'd done wrong. He had an Android phone, which was linked to his Google account, and, like millions of other Americans, he used an assortment of Google products, including Gmail and YouTube. Now, police seemingly wanted access to all of it. I didn't know what it was about, but I knew the police wanted to get something from me, McCoy said in a recent interview. I was afraid I was going to get charged with something, I don't know what. There was one clue. In the notice from Google was a case number. McCoy searched for it in the Gainesville Police Department's website, and found a one-page investigation report on the burglary of an elderly woman's home 10 months earlier. The crime had occurred less than a mile from the home that McCoy, who had recently earned an associate degree in computer programming, shared with 2 others. Now McCoy was even more panicked and confused. He knew he had nothing to do with the break-in. He'd never even been to the victim's house, and didn't know anyone who might have, and he didn't have much time to prove it. McCoy worried that going straight to police would lead to his arrest. So he went to his parents' home in St. Augustine, where, over dinner, he told them what was happening. They agreed to dip into their savings to pay for a lawyer. The lawyer, Caleb Kenyon, dug around and learned that the notice had been prompted by a geofence warrant, a police surveillance tool that casts a virtual dragnet over crime scenes, sweeping up Google location data, drawn from users' GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular connections from everyone nearby. The warrants, which have increased dramatically in the past 2 years, can help police find potential suspects when they have no leads. They also scoop up data from people who have nothing to do with the crime, often without their knowing, which Google itself has described as a significant incursion on privacy. Still confused and very worried, McCoy examined his phone. An avid biker, he used an exercise tracking app, Runkeeper, to record his rides. The app relied on his phone's location services, which fed his movements to Google. He looked up his route on the day of March 29, 2019, burglary, and saw that he had passed the victim's house 3 times within an hour. part of its frequent loops through his neighborhood, he said. It was a nightmare scenario, McCoy recalled. I was using an app to see how many miles I rode my bike, and that was putting me at the scene of the crime, and I was the lead suspect. A powerful new tool. The victim was a 97-year-old woman who told police she was missing several pieces of jewelry, including an engagement ring worth more than $2,000. 4 days after she reported the crime, Gainesville police, looking for leads, went to an Alachua County judge with a warrant for Google. In it, they demanded records of all devices using Google services that had been near the woman's home when the burglary was thought to have taken place. The first batch of data would not include any identifying information. Police would sift through it for devices that seemed suspicious and ask Google for the names of their users. Kenyon said police told him that they became particularly interested in McCoy's device after viewing the first batch of analyzed data. They didn't know the identity of the device's owner, so they returned to Google to ask for more information. That request triggered the January 14th notice the technology giant sent to McCoy, part of its general policy of notifying users about government requests for their information. The notice was McCoy's only indication that police wanted his data. Gainesville police declined to comment. While privacy and civil liberties advocates have been concerned that geofence warrants violate constitutional protections from unreasonable searches, law enforcement authorities say those worries are overblown. They say police don't obtain any identifying information about a Google user until they find a device that draws their suspicion. And the information alone is not enough to justify charging someone with a crime, they say. Google geofence warrants have been used by police agencies around the country, including the FBI. Google said in a court filing last year that the request from state and federal law enforcement authorities were increasing rapidly, by more than 1,500% from 2017 to 2018, and by 500% from 2018 to 2019. So just think about that for a second. I just want to stop on that for just a second. It's not 150%. That's by more than 1,500% from 2017 to 2018. And then a quarter of that, 500% from 2018 to 2019. So I'm going to pause on that for a minute. It's a great tool and a great technology, said Kevin Armbruster, a retired lieutenant with the Milwaukee Police Department, where he oversaw the use of high-tech investigative work, including geofence warrants. Milwaukee police have used Google geofence warrants to solve an array of crimes, including homicides, shootings, a string of robberies and kidnappings, and a sexual assault involving an abduction, he said. I would think the majority of citizens in the world would love the fact that we are putting violent offenders in jail, Armbruster said. There have been very few court challenges to Google geofence warrants, mainly because the warrants are done in secret and defense lawyers may not realize the tool was used to identify their clients. One exception is an accused bank robber in Midlothian, Virginia, who was fighting a charge by arguing the geofence warrant used against him was illegal. That case is pending. You're looking at the wrong guy. Once McCoy realized his bike ride had placed him near the scene of the crime, he had a strong theory of why police had picked his device out of all the others swept up by the warrant. He and Kenyon set out to keep them from getting any more information about him and persuade them that he was innocent. Kenyon said he got on the phone with the detective on the case and told him, "You're looking at the wrong guy." For most of his life, McCoy said, he had tried to live online anonymously, a habit that dated to the early days of the internet when there was less expectation that people would use their real names. He used pseudonyms on his social media accounts and the email account that Google used to notify him about the police investigation. But until then, he hadn't thought much about Google collecting information about him. I didn't realize that by having location services on, that Google was also keeping a log of where I was going, McCoy said. I'm sure it's in the terms of service, but I never read through those walls of text, and I don't think most people do either. Just before the start of his ordeal, He listened to a call-in radio debate about the Department of Justice's fight with Apple over access to an iPhone left by a Saudi national who gunned down several people at an airbase in Pensacola, Florida in December. Remember some callers saying they had no problem with law enforcement having access to phone data, arguing that people had nothing to worry about as long as they didn't break the law. Now McCoy thought the callers weren't considering predicaments like his. If you're innocent, that doesn't mean you can't be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like going on a bike ride in which your GPS puts you in a position where police suspect you of a crime you didn't commit, McCoy said. On January 31st, Kenyon filed a motion in Alachua County Civil Court to render the warrant null and void, and to block the release of any further information about McCoy, and identified him only as John Doe. Until this article. At that point, Google had not turned over any data that identified McCoy, but would have done so if Kenyon hadn't intervened. Kenyon argued that the warrant was unconstitutional because it allowed police to conduct sweeping searches of phone data from untold numbers of people in order to find a single suspect. That approach, Kenyon said, flipped on its head the traditional method of seeking a search warrant, in which police target a person they already suspect. This geofence warrant effectively blindly cast a net backwards in time, hoping to ensnare a burglar, Kenyon wrote. This concept is akin to the plotline in many science fiction film featuring a dystopian fascist government, cleared by the same data. The filing seemed to give law enforcement authorities second thoughts about the warrant. Not long afterward, Kenyon said, a lawyer in the state attorney's office assigned to represent the Gainesville Police Department told him there were details in the motion that led them to believe that Kenyon's client was not the burglar. The state attorney's office withdrew the warrant, asserting in a court filing that it was no longer necessary. The office did not respond to requests for comment. Kenyon said that in a visit to his office, the detective acknowledged that police no longer considered his client a suspect. On February 24th, Kenyon dropped his legal challenge. The case ended well for McCoy, Kenyon said, but the larger privacy fight will go unanswered. Even then, Kenyon wanted to make sure that police didn't have lingering doubts about McCoy, whom they still knew only as John Doe. So he met with the detective again and showed him screenshots of his client's Google location history, including data recorded by Runkeeper. The maps showed months of bike rides past the burglar's home. In the end, the same location data that raised police suspicions of McCoy also helped to vindicate him, Kenyon said, but there was no knowing what law enforcement was going to do with that data when they got it behind closed doors. Not that I distrust them, but I wouldn't trust them not to arrest him. He pointed to an Arizona case, in which a man was mistakenly arrested and jailed for murder largely based on Google data received from a geofence warrant. McCoy said he may have ended up in a similar spot if his parents hadn't given him several $1,000s to hire Kenyon. He regrets having to spend that money. He also thinks about the elderly burglary victim. Police said they have not made any arrests. I'm definitely sorry that happened to her, and I'm glad police were trying to solve it, McCoy said. But it just seems like a really broad net for them to cast. What's the cost benefit? How many innocent people do they have to harass? That is the end of that article. I'll leave my opinion on that, and then we're going to go through the weekly question. So, honestly, I think it's good that they do this. Because, like I said, they don't get your, according to them, they don't get your, according to this article, they don't get your full identifying information until they narrow down. But when a crime happens, someone's there, right? So, which I think Apple needs to be more open to for doing this. But I definitely think it will help solve more crimes. And then, okay, yeah, so few innocent people may get harassed, but I mean, hey, that's a small price to pay. I mean, if you're innocent and you just then you can fight that, and or you can even call them up and be like, hey, look, I'll come in, and you can question me, but I did everything to do this, and then you could prove, if they're willing, which I'm guessing most law enforcement officials would, then you can prove your case and be like, hey, I'm innocent, and here's why, X, Y, Z, or Y, Z, X, however you want to put it. Okay, I just said Y, Z, X, but the point is, I mean, I think a few people, a few innocent people getting harassed. It's like the police are trying to do their jobs. The police are trying to get people off, bad people off the streets. People are actually committing crimes off the streets, and this is a really great tool, in my opinion, that will assist with that. So I don't think it's a bad thing if, like if I were be in his shoes, or even another situation where the person be near the scene of the crime. I mean, because if I didn't do anything, why would I have to worry? I mean, and okay, so if they make me spend a few nights in jail until I can, until I convince them that, hey, I didn't do this crime. So what? I know I didn't do this crime. So, like, the only evidence they have is a geolocation. So, I mean, like, they don't have my prints at the crime scene. They don't have video evidence, and no picture evidence. I mean, you're actually committing the crime there. So, yeah, as long as you're innocent, I see you don't have anything to worry about. But that's my opinion on it. Go ahead and let me know your opinion in the comment section below, or you can go ahead and go to our the official DOIJ podcast Discord, which will be the second link in the description below. If you want to go ahead and donate, go ahead and click on the first link in the description. Now I'll go ahead and go through the weekly question. So this week's weekly question is: do you think next-gen consoles, both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet, release dates will be pushed back due to the coronavirus? If so, why and how long? Now, just as a quick reminder, right now, as far as I'm aware, I'll have to look into it more after this podcast. But, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet are set to release holiday 2020, aka holiday this year. The parts are basically made in China. And there's a coronavirus which originated in China. So that's where that question comes from. So, Rainy Soda gives two answers. One and then another one after someone else did. Rainy Soda says, negative. Unless a virus starts killing off workers, I doubt the workforce and materials needed will be affected. Also, there's so much money involved, even if the virus got worse, the greedy board members wouldn't push back massive profits. And then Sir Lazy Boy says, so production might get held back because shipping will be unavailable, but release date should be the same. Well, Raining Soda says, I think they'll be relentless enough where if one's delayed, they will just find another supplier. With China, there can easily be thousands of companies selling the same stuff. And both of you make a valid point. I'm going to kind of disagree with both of you, because I think it would be delayed. I don't know the situation in the factory, but I'm going to give you two scenarios, one where it doesn't get delayed and one where it does. So, one where it doesn't get delayed is if the workers there are healthy and they're producing what they need to produce with no risk of the coronavirus, and then they just wait to ship it. And if the coronavirus is done, is irrelevant basically, or is gone by the time by the time the shipping date comes out, then we would have it holiday 2020. And holiday 2020 is pretty much at the end of the year. I mean, I believe there's quite a few holidays. They can release around Thanksgiving. They can release around Halloween. They could release around Christmas. So, really, holiday 2020, there's few months there that they can release it around. So there is that bit of leeway there. Now, obviously, probably release it just before Christmas, kind of get it all in and all that, but maybe just before Christmas would be my guess. But if it gets delayed, it'll either get delayed because shipping has to wait, or it'll get delayed because I don't think that they are going to try and go for a different company. Because my guess is that they have a price locked down with this company. They have private contract with these companies in China. Now these companies could have different factories, and that's what that would come in when they go to a different factory of the same company, and go in over there. But I don't think that they're going to go to a different company. So it'll get delayed because the company's not working or whatever. I have a feeling it's going to be delayed. But honestly, I don't mind it getting delayed because that means more time for me to make the money to buy it and then explore with you all, do the unboxing video and all that. So anyway, with all that said, again, if you want to donate, please go and click on the first link in the description and donate. That way, 25% of all regular video, donations will go to a charity. If you want to join the official DOIJ podcast server, go ahead and click on the second link in the description. If you want to join DOIJ Roleplay, we have PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, GTA 5. I'm sorry. We have PlayStation 4. Sorry. PlayStation 5 stuck in my head. I'm so excited for that. We have PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, better known as 5M, GTA 5 Roleplay. We also have Red Dead Redemption 2 Roleplay on the PS4 and Xbox One. So you have that as well. We also have a Minecraft server, so if you want to go and join that, that'll be the third link in the description. Please do go ahead and click on that link. And if that link doesn't work, then go ahead and click on join the DOIJ podcast server, and you'll find how to join DOIJ. Highly recommend you join DOIJ. Fantastic roleplay server. Again, I hope to have some more roleplay videos coming soon. I know I said that last week. So if you want to answer the next question, go ahead and again click on that second link in the description. Second link in the description will work. If you want to interact with us or interact with me after podcasts are not going on. Secondly, my friend Discord server. Recommend getting Discord. It's amazing. Glitches out now and then, but that's alright. So there you have it. Thank you all so much for listening to today's podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. Turn on that notification bell if you want to get notified next and every time we go live with podcast videos or we go live with regular videos. I hope you're getting back into farming there. I hope to be starting up the Sims series as well as a few other game series videos that I hope to be starting real soon. So again, stay tuned, stay awesome. Thank you all so much for listening in.